Ladies and gentlemen, baby. I mean, every week I do this athletically, and you still think that this is a pre-recorded intro, don't you? Ladies and gents, let's get the party started.
Everything that brought me alive. Though we're all like monsters, playing with the monsters. They brought me alive, but got no alibi. It's a lover's fight without an alibi. It took my innocence without an alibi. Smoking gun, you got me on the run. We know that will come. We're out up till dawn. But how can I hide it without an alibi? It's a lover's fight without an alibi. Took my innocence. I can't wait no longer. I'm playing with the monsters. Everything that brought me alive. Oh, we're all like monsters, playing with the monsters. They brought me alive, but got no alibi. It's a lover's fight without an alibi. It took my
We are on! Baby, baby, baby. Oh my God. What is happening, everybody? Hope you're well. Happy Saturday. Happy Sunday. I don't know where you're joining me from. Hope you're well. Let's go. The music changed again, didn't it? As soon as I was ready to go, something changed. I don't understand this whole playlist business. Yeah. All right. So, guys, I got to tell you something. I am in the mood today. I really am. And I tell you why I'm in the mood today. I tell you why. Because we have an athletic docket for you today. You're not going to believe this. We have an athletic docket. First, we're going to talk about this insane, out of its mind Cort guitar. And I know when somebody says Cort, insane doesn't really come to mind, but trust me, it's insane. It's pretty good. Then we're going to talk about the Grammys Academy stance on AI generated music. Then we're going to talk about a new limited edition signature guitar, which I don't think it should exist, but it does, with one of the heftiest price tags out there, surprisingly. So we don't get that, but that's okay. We'll deal with it. Then I'm going to talk about Joe Bonamassa telling me off on Instagram. We're going to have a chat about that. We had something happening there. And then we're going to talk about the CS2 ESP Firebird electric guitar. And then if we have time, we're going to talk about an article about Nuno and his comments on his performance in the last Ozzy Osbourne show in Buckingham. Isn't that good? Isn't that a good docket for today? You tell me it's not a good docket for today. It really is. It really is. So, with that said, if you guys are ready, let us get La Fiesta, the party, started, shall we? Shall we? Boy, oh boy. Now, before we start, can I get some confirmation from Twitch and from YouTube? How is the audio? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Is the background music too loud, or is it just fine? You guys tell me. Well, I mean, the background music stopped. I'm gonna bring it just a tad down, but you guys do let me know if it becomes too loud, or if I'm not audible. Okay? I'm worried that this might be a little too loud. But you guys tell me if it's okay. All right. With that said, let's get the party started, shall we? Why are we having technical difficulties today? This was a perfect setup. Why am I having technical difficulties here right now? Unbelievable. I'm not seeing any comments. I know there are comments coming in, but I'm not seeing them for some reason. Give me a second, guys. So, this is a little bizarre. We have technical difficulties today. Hold on. Ah, that's better. Zuhair! How are ya? How are ya? All right, we got this done. All right, let me see if this is now resolved. Huh. Okay, it's resolved now. I like it. We like it when it gets resolved. Okay. Okay, good. Zuhair, how are you? How you doing, dude? Zuhair says, you can keep discussing all these things alone, Sorenzo. I won't stay entire session. Okay, that's all right. We'll discuss it. Other people's join in. You can come back. Audio is fine. I can hear your annoying voice clearly. You really woke up and chose war today, didn't you? I like it. I like it. You started the day a little cocky. That's fine. That's okay. Zwer says, I'm fine, just got back from work. Ah, that's why you're grumpy. Now we know. After fried rice and fried chicken, having some yogurt now. Okay, not bad. I like it. I had fried chicken yesterday, actually. Yeah, there we go. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened at work today. But you really, someone's in a grumpy mood, but that's okay. That's all right. We'll deal with it. All right, let us get the party started, shall we? Man, I gotta tell you guys this. I saw this guitar that I'm about to show you, and I was surprised about how it went under my radar, because this is like well within my territory of things that I pay attention to. But I was surprised. This is a very interesting guitar. Check this out. So this is a Cort guitar. It's the KX700 Double T, right? And just before we even get into it, right? Because in my mind, Cort is just this builder that builds for everybody else. Obviously, you know, they've got a sort of a smaller operation, you know, building their own guitars and all that. At least when it comes to feeding the Western world. But as soon as I saw this image, I was like, oh God, okay, this is already like insane out of its mind. So you have a really nicely figured swamp ash top, which looks like it's sandblasted. You have Fishman pickups there. You have this awesome bridge. And then you have these frets. And I'm like, all right, well, this is specced out of its mind. This is not the usual El Cheapo stuff that Cort might produce to put out there. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm interested in this thing. Let's have a look and see what we got here. Check this out. So this is the guitar. The next thing I noticed on this is the fact that the Cort logo is rebranded. And I like it. I like this Cort logo is a million times better than that old, you know, flowery, circular, weird looking logo. Like this is a metal guitar. Let's be honest here, right? And so the fact that finally we've got some redesign of the logo and something better look is on the headstock, I like it, right? Nevertheless, so it's supposed to be ultra fast. It's supposed to have the, you know, the tempered fretboard there for perfect intonation. So literally the true temperament fretting system, all these ups and downs and, you know, dips and raises, it basically helps you to have that perfect intonation, what they call it. We talk about that a little. Roasted maple neck 5-piece, which is like, again, insane, as good as it gets. And you have Fishman Fluence, modern Fishman Fluences. I got a guitar at home with a pair, which is like awesome pickups. So yeah, this is an insane electric guitar. Now, unfortunately, on Cort's YouTube website, there wasn't a good demo video. I couldn't find a good demo video of this guitar online as much as I looked for it, which was sad. But just briefly looking at the specs of this guitar. So stainless steel, true temperament frets are Swedish stainless steel, basically. You get Fishman Fluence Modern. I talked about it. By the way, they come in 2 voicings. So the tone knob here is going to be push and pull. Or not. Actually, they got a switch for it now, unlike the guitar that I have at home. You have advanced pickup switching systems, they call it, which is basically push and pull volume control along with a mini toggle. Schaller Haynes 6 bridge. Now, I love this bridge. I adore this bridge because it's minimalistic. And there's nothing there in front of your hand like to stop you from doing what you want to do, and you can intonate it individually for each string. This is like the perfect bridge for me. I love these ones. I love bridges that don't get in your way. And they just connect the string to the guitar. Just you know, flawless intonation, flawless resonance. Do you know what I mean? I just adore these Schaller bridges. And then you have the, you know, African mahogany body. Really? That's okay. So, oh, right. African mahogany body, and then the swamp hash top. Got it. Yeah. So there you have it. By the way, African mahogany is a commonly used mahogany, but it's not the true mahogany or its neighbor, right? So the one true mahogany is Cuban mahogany, and its sister that belongs to the same genetic tree is the Honduras mahogany. So, but African mahogany is a good mahogany used in the guitars. 5-piece roasted maple neck, is that walnut? What do we have? Yeah, 5-piece roasted maple and walnut. We like that. Lumen lace. We like that. Cort locking tuners. Decent stuff. I played with the 7-string last Melbourne Guitar Show with a guitar that had them. Easy to deal with, no issues there. So, yeah, by the way, that's the next gen Cort logo. So, check this out. This is the logo I like. This is the one I don't. This is the circularly flowery one that I'm absolutely not a fan of. I really like this guitar. Now, it is on the pricey side, but my God, it's a good guitar. Like, it looks insane. The specs are insane. Everything is there. Zuhair says, I think I love everything about this guitar except how haphazard the frets look. I guess the frets are new to me. Just have to get used to it. Really like it too. Is the price also insane? The price is also insane, yeah. About these frets, right? So basically the whole point of it is to perfect intonation. And then when it comes to installing these frets, they don't actually route something on the fretboard as deeply as you would have it in a standard fret. You know, when the root goes completely in and all that. These ones are just glued to the fretboard, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. Now, let's see how much are these things on Sweetwater. Hold on. If they are on Sweetwater, actually. Hold on a second. I thought it was around like $3,000 or something, if I'm not mistaken, when I saw the price tag. It's not there, so hold on. Okay, it is, I was right. It's $2,500. $2,500 US dollars. On truetemperament.com. But Vivas Music is selling it for $1,500. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. That's closer to the price you put out there. Insane, huh? No, hold on. Zuhair, is that the KX700 TT? Because there is a similar model to it, which is cheaper. So the one that I'm looking at, let me share my screen with you. Yeah, that one, it seems to be a $2,500 guitar. Yeah, see? Yeah. So the more affordable model of this is the one that is $1,300. This one, the TT, the limited edition model, is a little bit more pricey. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's an insane guitar. It really is. And to be honest with you, like $2,500 for a guitar with these specs is low. If any other factory, any other company had this guitar out, the price of this guitar would be a lot more expensive. Like, for all these features, active Fishman fluence, you know, premium tone wood, the frets, the Schaller bridge, you know, roasted maple neck, 5-piece. Like, for specs like this, 2500 is really good. And that's like the magic of Cort, right? Like, you produce for all of these different companies. That'll be PRS and Strandberg and Ibanez and Jackson. You produce for all of these different companies. Ginormous, the biggest builder in the world, right? And you get access to all of their specs and everything that they do, all the magic in their guitars. And then you pick out the best pieces and put it together, and you're producing your own. It's not like that you're commissioning somebody else to produce for you. So you have better margins. And so because of that, you can put a better spec out there for like a cheaper guitar. I am open to buying this guitar. Like, if I wanted to buy a new guitar, I'd be very open to buy this one. It looks insane. The specs are insane on this. Like, I'm impressed. Like, doesn't happen often that I get impressed by a guitar. Because I've just got a lot at home and I just talk and see guitars every day. But boy, isn't this a wowzer. Look at the tapering on the body too. This guitar is insane. Oh man. Boy, don't I want to have this. I wonder whether they bring like an updated version of this in NAMM or Melbourne Guitar Show in January. Like, this is great. This guitar is just great. All right. Anyways, enough with Grohl fanning this. Do we have a video, please, Cort? Because there was nothing on your YouTube channel. Bolt-on construction, African mahogany, white ash top, told you, 25.5-inch scale, roasted maple walnut, 5-piece with laminated, D-shaped neck, so not C, 21.5 mil and 19.5. So this is a thin neck, guys, by the way. Indian rosewood fretboard, 1575 radius, love it, nice and flat, 24 fret, true temperament fretting system with stainless steel, luminous side dots, so that's basically lumen lays, Graphtec tusk, not material, lock-in tuners, Schaller bridge, Fishman fluence modern, matte finish. Oh god, this is like the perfect guitar for me. This guitar really hits everything I like about guitars. Yeah. Boy, oh boy. Zohair says, did Dorotio disappear completely? I don't know. I don't think so. The Dorotio could be around. Love to talk to him. But you know how it is, right? It's like everybody got their own life and, you know, things to deal with and things going on. And so I'm glad that this stream is available for everybody to come and check it out at your leisure when you're ready for it. You know what I mean? Whenever you feel like it's the right time. It's like playing guitar. It's like doing anything that has to do with leisure, right? Has to do with having fun. Has to do with chilling, right? You do it when it works for you. And Dorotio, yourself, everybody else, you know, come enjoy it at the right time when you can, and that'll be great. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, it's been a while. I haven't talked to him for some time. Yeah. All right. Shall we jump to the next item on the docket? And I thought this was interesting. I think in given the current state of affairs, I thought this was an interesting discussion there. Now, as you guys know, you know, the 2026 Grammys nominees were announced. And You know, same brouhaha as every year, I guess. With that being said, with all the AI and stuff is going around, there's ongoing discussions about what should people's stance be on AI generated music, and then what should organization stances be. You know what I mean? You got the artists, you got the organizations, right? This is not a new article, but nevertheless, I thought it was really interesting because basically it'll tell you how Grammys and how the industry overall looks at AI generated music. Now, here's the gist of it when you read this article, and for those who are interested in reading this, it's on Grammy's website. But the gist of this is that, number one, anything that is only AI generated is not eligible for copyright. So no copyright for anything that is AI generated, which makes perfect sense. The second one, which I think is much more interesting, is that if an artist uses AI in their work, so they get assistance from AI when they're generating their own music, that's cool. That's completely allowed. And again, in a way, it makes perfect sense. However, it doesn't define, and I don't know if it ever can define, a boundary of, you know, after what certain point of AI usage we consider that piece of work not human generated anymore. You guys know what I mean? So if I, for example, go to an AI online and get it to write me some lyrics, and I sing those lyrics, none of those lyrics are mine, but you wouldn't know, would you? You can't prove it either, would you? Would you be able to do it? No. I'm just, you know, get the lyrics, change them a little, and do it. So that's, for all intents and purposes, AI generated lyrics, right? Now, let's just say I go to a online AI service that produces music, and I produce something. Well, I get it to produce like a very basic trap beat for me, like a hip hop beat for me, which is more simpler, right, than say metal or jazz. And I get that trap or hip hop beat, and I'll just adjust it a little here and there in my DAW. You know what I mean? I've done minimal work on this music, hardly any. I just tweaked it a little. But both the music and lyrics are not mine, really, are they? Right? I can just tweak it, add like a line of instrument to it, and like just to mask the fact that it's AI generated. You know what I mean? But it's not mine, and it seems like from this article that that's fair game, right? Like that's allowed, which basically means anything that you can have like 5% input in the music, and it's okay. Like, you know what I mean? So that's the stance, interestingly enough. And that article, I'll put it in the chat if you guys are interested in reading this. It's a brief article, but it's a very, very interesting way to go about it, you know? So what does that mean for us in terms of like how it will impact the listener, like people who, to be honest with you, a lot of music is already electronically generated anyways. So, you know, obviously hip hop and rap, trap and all that. A lot of R&B music, right? A lot of techno, all of techno, you know, trance. All these genres are already electronically produced anyways. So I don't think the integration of AI in that part of the music world is going to be really that different, right? So that's that. I think the more interesting part of the discussion is how then that AI music generation is going to impact the part of the music world where we actually play the instruments in, right? So in techno or trance, we don't, right? It's electronic. It's like you know what I mean? Or in hip hop, again, mostly electronic, right? But metal, rock, we actually play the instruments, like human beings get on the stage and actually play those instruments, as opposed to one DJ at the back or one DJ at the front just playing all that stuff, right? You guys get the point, right? So, you know what I mean? So what I'm interested in to see is whether there will be an impact there, and I think there will be, obviously, to some extent. But my hope is that it just does not, because the reality is that all of us who picked up the electric guitar at some point saw somebody else playing it, and we thought it's cool, so we thought, yeah, maybe we should pick it up too. Do you know what I mean? Whether that'll be, for me, it was Cort KX700. First person I saw playing the guitar, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Like, wow. Cort KX700 and James Hetfield, Metallica, right? For a lot of people these days, probably, I don't know, Ed Sheeran or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, there are not many crazy metal bands out there, so whoever plays the guitar, we just have to take it. Taylor Swift? I don't know. You know, Nuno Betancourt certainly has inspired a lot of people. All the great guitar players, right? So if it starts to impact, you know, actual players, then that'll be a little depressing to me. Because even with AI and everything else, I still want to, you know, make sure that I go to live shows and I see live shows and they exist. That's a good thing. That's like one of the best aspects of music that not everybody has experienced, because not everybody goes out anymore. Especially after COVID, you have a whole generation of kids who are just used to stay at home. They never leave home. Come back from school and then just in front of the monitor the whole day. Like, you know what I mean? Never gone out. Never played with friends on the street or in a park or at a gym. Schoolyard. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not there anymore. So, I don't know. But I can tell you for a fact, if anyone's watching this and you've never gone to a live show, for your own sake, get out there to a live show. Just go to a concert, however small it is, and you immediately realize how much better that experience is, as opposed to watching the same performance on your monitor. So, yeah. But it's insane, man. It's insane. Like, it makes me think, you know what I mean? It makes me think. So, for example, when it comes to the impact of AI on all these stuff, like guitar world now, talking about the guitar world. Like, obviously, it doesn't impact the tactile feeling of you picking up the guitar and play. The AI can't play for you, right? So the AI can't experience things for you. So we got that going on for us. But the question is now, how many people in the next generation and the one after will actually be interested in picking up the actual instrument? So, I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird world, man. And anybody that tells you that, oh, we know what's going to happen, I don't think they do. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Like, we're all speculating here. But it's like, my goodness, it's probably the most important technology humans ever created. And we're all struggling here to figure out, like, what's the way forward. Anywho, let's jump to the next item on the docket. And this also came to me as a bit of a surprise. Check this out. So, Dave Grohl's blue Epiphone signature guitar now has a Gibson version. A limited edition, antique white looking Gibson version. And the price tag of this is $12,000. And I was horrified when I saw this guitar. Look, I'll be honest with you. The only thing I liked about this guitar was the color of it. I thought the color looks awesome. Then there's absolutely nothing else I liked about this guitar. And from what I know, from my understanding, reading this stuff online and researching this guitar a while ago when it first came out, maybe a year after it came out, The sales for this guitar were underwhelming. Like in every review you looked at, you know, everyone basically said, most people basically said that, look, it's overpriced for what it delivers. It's not that interesting of a guitar. So the fact that they do limited editions of this was a bit of a surprise to me. So yeah, so let's have a chat about it now. This article is written by our friend Jeff Stone. For those of you guys who watch the older streams, Jeff Stone is not. We're gonna be a little bit more careful with what Jeff Stone writes, but let's go and check this guitar out, okay? This is the guitar. So it's a limited edition. Only 50 of them are made, and it seems like all 50 are sold out. 12,000 US dollars a piece, which is honestly, like, I have no idea why people. Anyways, I just don't understand human beings right now. So the headstock looks like a Firebird headstock. It's a big headstock. It's a big chunky Gibson headstock. Check this out. And the fact that a rock player plays hollow body also is a bit of a thing to me. So nevertheless, let's talk about it. You really can have it all again. Oh God. Dave Grohl, 19-time Grammy winner, 2-time Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee. Since 21, has been performing with a striking Alpine white version of his signature DG335 at Foo Fighters shows around the world. Now Gibson is releasing a highly exclusive run of this guitar, finished in the same Alpine white gloss nitrocellulose lacquer. Right. And it blends the ES335 and Trini Lopez designs, as specified by Dave himself. Features a semi-hollow 3-ply maple poplar maple body with a diamond-shaped holes, basically. So what do we have? Nitrocellulose lacquer, we talked about it. It's an ES335 shape. Fine. Spruce bracing. We have the side 3-ply maple poplar maple, similar to the, you know, similar to your, the back of the body. And then let's just repeat the same piece of information 5 times. So have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4 times rather. Okay. Like Gibson's website with the specs things, they really underwhelm you, don't they? So neck is Indian rosewood, 22 frets, diamond inlays, mahogany neck rather, 42/8 knot width, standard, nothing crazy about it. 24/7/5 scale length, that's a Gibson scale, fine. 12-inch radius, standard. Medium jumbo frets, set joint with long tenon, so basically just it's just a little bit more in, you know, in its body cradle as the neck gets put inside and then glued. Nylon nut? Really? For a $12,000 guitar? Why? This is insane. This guitar is literally $12,000, a limited edition, US made guitar. You couldn't put a bone nut in there? Why would you put a material in there that takes the brightness away? It's already a hollow body guitar. Like, you already have a lot of wetness to deal with there. Why? Is the website correct? Like, is that a mistake? This is insane, by the way. I don't know. There are certain things in this world that will never make sense to me. This is one of them. Oh, man. I can tell you guys, for if I was a person that was excited to buy this guitar for 12,000 US dollars, and I saw the specs, I'd feel like, you know what? They're not taking me and my money seriously. I'm not gonna buy. Like, that will be my reaction. Jesus Christ. Like, so I'll give you guys this example, right? Like the new Epiphone Firebird that I bought, right? The purple one that we talked about in earlier streams. That one is a really good value for money, right? That one has the Gibson custom shop pickup on it. It's a neck through neck through guitar. Really good specs. Really, really good specs. It's made in China, which I was not a fan of, right? But overall, it's a really good guitar for the money, in my opinion. Having owned this guitar and played with this guitar for hours now. So that's a good thing. You know what I mean? I'm not suggesting that everything they do is like this, but my goodness, if you got a $12,000 guitar and you can't put a better nylon material in there, that's better material as I'll say it again. If you have a $12,000 guitar and you can't put a material better than nylon in the nut, that's a problem. Here's why I'm so thinking about this, guys. I'm gonna show you guys something. Hold on. Maybe I should go. Let me stop the music. I don't have spare nuts, guitar nuts at home. But if anyone's interested in trying this experiment, and I'm sure there are videos online on YouTube that you can check out. Let me see if I can change the camera and show you guys what I mean. Okay, I'm gonna bring this camera downwards a little. So this is my, here we go, right? So next time, if you have sort of a nut there, let me just take the overlays out as well. Here we go, right? So I'm just gonna use this as my thing, right? So next time, if you guys have a nut of different materials, say you got a bone nut, you got a plastic nut, and so on, pick up that nut and just drop it on the table, right? Like this. And you notice that the sound that it generates is going to be different. Like one is going to be different from the other. So now I can try this with picks, and picks probably have the same thing too, right? Now listen to this. As opposed to, let's get another pick. As opposed to, bottom line of it is, the reason I did this to tell you is to tell you guys that depending on the material that you use in your nut, the sound output is going to change. And anything, when you're building a guitar, anything that touches the string is God, right? I don't have spare nuts at home. Otherwise, I would have used the actual nuts instead of these guitar picks. But if you guys like got some spare nuts, or you can buy one secondhand to try this experiment at home, they sound differently when you drop them on the table or any surface, right? They're going to resonate differently. They resonate differently. And anything that takes the brightness of your guitar away, you want to avoid it, right? If you want to deal with brightness, deal with it at the pickup level, not on your guitar build. Because basically, if you think about a guitar as an instrument, it is, it has an internal resistance to it, right? So you put a certain amount of energy in it, and then you get a lesser output because of a whole lot of other factors, right? If you put X amount of energy in it, you don't get X, you get less than X. So a good guitar is a guitar that doesn't reduce the output X. You know what I mean? The delta for it is not that big. So if you put X amount, you get a little less than X, not a lot less than X as the output of its energy when you produce the sound. A good guitar is like, you know, the output of it is very similar. It's close to your input. But there's always going to be some waste. There's going to be always some energy that goes away that doesn't translate into sound. And one characteristic of like not really good guitars is that the output of it doesn't have the brightness that it should have, It's very muddy. It's very muffly. You know what I mean? And that is the reason why bone nuts are used quite often as a nut material, right? So I'm a little baffled by this. Also, think of it like this, right? You have a semi-hollow body guitar, or hollow body guitar, right? Do you guys know why we have solid body electric guitars? Like, one of the reasons that solid body electric guitars were made, because guitars were obviously hollow bodied, and the first electric guitars were kind of hollow bodied. You had the pan, you had the long history of electric guitars. Long story short, one of the reasons why we have solid body guitars, well, why we decided to go with a solid piece of wood as opposed to a hollow piece of wood for electric guitars, was that we wanted to make sure that we get the isolated sound of the pickup out of the electric guitar. Right? Because if you have a hollow body there, you know, air vibrates inside as the aftermath of your string oscillation. The wood oscillates a little more because now your top wood is thinner. And all of that impacts the sound of your guitar. We wanted to isolate it more to the pickups. That's what was one of the reasons why solid body electric guitars became solid body electric guitars. Right? So the existence of that sound hole is going to make the output of your sound a little bit more wet. It's a little bit more, I don't know, wet. Just like, that's how I think. Like, imagine adding a little reverb to your thing. It makes it a little like that. And so in a scenario like this, I don't understand, and I could be wrong here, but I genuinely don't understand what good comes out of using a nut that is made with nylon. So that's my rant about this guitar. Now, if I'm wrong here, if anyone has any piece of information here that can enlighten me, I'd love to hear it. But this doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. As of now. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I don't know, man. I don't know. What can I say? All right, shall we jump to the next item on the docket? And this one is actually a personal story. So you guys remember we did this thing about Joe Bonamassa? So in a couple of streams ago, or 3 streams ago, I talked about Joe Bonamassa and the story of how he, offered to help Joanne Shaw Taylor, but then took that guitar away. So just a quick refresher, and for those of you who, don't know the story, what happened was Joanne Shaw Taylor, by the way, is a great blues artist. And she's friends with Joe Bonamassa. And so what happened is that she saw this Albert King Telecaster that was signed by Albert King himself in a store. The price of that guitar was $5,000. She called Joe Bonamassa and said, look, I got only $4,000. I can't afford 5. Can you help me with this? And Joe goes like, you know what? That's fine. I can get it for you in the store. They'll probably want a photo with me, and I can negotiate it down to a photo with me and $4,000. Do you want to do that? She's like, yeah. And he's like, all right, well, I'll help you out. He goes to the store and then gets the guitar for himself. And so the guitar stays with him for almost a year until Joanne Shaw calls Joe Bonamassa's dad and says, hey, this has happened. And then his dad calls him, and then Jobo texts Joanne and says, hey, give me your address. I'll send you the guitar. Right? That was the story of that. So after I told that story, let me stop the music now because I need you guys to see something here. After I told that story, we did the stream, and then, I created a short from it. And this was the short that was there, right? It's like 60 seconds. I like to call him Joe Bassanova, but he's Joe Bonamassa, okay? This man screwed over this good-looking. So I said everything I said just to you guys just now in 60 seconds. I cracked some jokes in there, some visuals, yada, yada, right? Joe Bonamassa himself commented on it, saying bullshit, which I found hilarious, by the way. I was not expecting Jobo himself to come and comment on this thing, right? So he commented there like just saying bullshit. And then I commented back after laughing my ass off. I commented back. I'm like, look, Joe, I guess the person who wrote the article on guitar.com had a little too much slow gin. Guys, for those who don't know, slow gin is the name of one of Joe Bonamassa's famous songs. It's one of his famous songs. Slow Gin is an awesome song. If you haven't heard it, just YouTube Joe Bonamassa Slow Gin. SLOE, not SLOW. SLOE, so Slow Gin. Check it out. It's great. But this is a reference to his song. It's a song about someone just trying to wash the pain away and drinks a lot of gin, right? So I was like, look, Joe, look, I guess the writer of the guitar.com piece had a little too much slow gin. I'll correct the record in a new video immediately. Now I just need to figure out which guitar you actually took from poor Joanne. In the spirit of transparency, if you could please clarify that, it will be fabulous. And I thought that's a funny joke, right? I thought, because it's like, it's bullshit. Like, I didn't do that. And I'm like, yeah, well, fair enough. Like, what was the guitar that you actually took? So I had a good laugh about it. I replied to him 15 hours ago, but he hasn't replied back to me yet, and I don't know if he ever will. But that was a funny joke, and I genuinely hope, this was my hope. I was talking to Mrs. Peachy about this. My genuine hope is that he also laughed at it as much as I did. Because I was just laughing when I saw him saying bullshit. And my gut feeling was that he was joking too. He wasn't seriously like telling me off or something. Because it's all in good humor, right? And I was like, I hope that he also laughed at it a lot and made his day a little better too. So I thought that was a fun interaction that I had with Jobo. And then another guy comes in, it's like, oh, dude loves to get into online arguments. I've never got into online arguments with people. I just block them. So I don't understand where that came from. And I'm like, look, I'll let Joe Bonamassa know. And we had a good laugh about it with that guy too. Magic of Instagram. So I thought it was a funny story that I wanted to share with you guys. Like, when the legend himself calls bullshit on you, you gotta pick it up and run with it. You don't just leave it there. So, Joe, if you're watching, I don't know if I hardly doubt it, but if by any chance you're watching this stream or you see this video, firm handshake, sir. I hope it was in good humor. I hope it made you laugh, because it really made me laugh, and I liked it. Joe Bonamassa is awesome, man. He's such a good musician, such a good blues player. Yeah, really good blues player. Oh well, oh well, oh well. And by the way, guys, speaking of Instagram, if you guys want to follow me on Insta or on X, because that's when we do our stream announcements, it's Mr. Sorenzo on both Instagram and on X. So that's when we go live. We do multiple lives a week now, not just the regular scheduled one, which is this one. So this one is like the scheduled one that will happen no matter what, at the same time, same day. But we have multiple other streams throughout the week that the schedule for that changes a little bit. And we announce that on Instagram stories and on X posts. So if you guys want to know, follow me there. And got heaps of other short videos. All righto. Let's talk about something I've been talking about for a very long time. Shall we? Shall we? Let's talk about it. Market saturation, which I brought up a few times earlier in our thing. Now, I was on gearnews.com, and this was a hilarious thing I saw. The first thing I saw about this article was that it has a label that says it's a human generated content. It's just like, that's funny. So what it means is that they got articles that are no longer human generated, but this is human made content by Jeff. I don't know who Jeff is, but I thought that was a funny touch on the website. Nevertheless, the question it asks is, look, what happened to the guitar market, and is it oversaturated? Right? Because basically what happens is that there's so many talks about oversaturation of the guitar market. I myself, multiple times have stated that it is oversaturated after COVID. And this was like a very sort of like, I think in a lot of ways confirmed what I said earlier on, right? So it says, look, the 2020-22 period was unprecedented with lockdowns and search for new hobbies. Guitar sales exploded, which is what we pretty much said the same on the stream. The period was insane. People were paying top dollar for new guitars, and used sales also went through the roof, right? So Fender reported millions of new players globally. That's true. And the supply chain crunches and feelings of infinite growth took over the market. So everyone basically got on a nice little high, all these companies and manufacturers, right? Now, 23-25 was a market correction. And again, we talked about the exact same thing. This just confirms what we talked about. All those gears that were used during pandemic as life went back to normal, so many of them flooded the secondhand market. Flooded, right? And so now what happened is that, well, obviously in the secondhand market, if the guitar is brand new, you get a really good deal, right? You pay like 60% of the price, half price in the current market saturation right now on a really decent guitar. Like if you're selling a guitar secondhanded, if you get to 70% of your retail purchase money, 70% of it, you're good. Unless like your guitar is one of those like rare 50s actual like old school stuff that over time it appreciate in its value. Other than that, more than 95% of the guitars out there, they depreciate in value over time. And so, you know, you had this guitar market now for the past 2-3 years that the secondhand market's been saturated and the stuff is good and it's half the price, right? So this is what we're talking about basically here. So ultimately, you know, the article concludes that, look, the guitar market isn't just one entity that you can say, oh, it's saturated and all that. It has different factions in it. So for example, the premium market is, you know, is still strong. And that kind of makes sense, right? If you have a lot of money to buy a $12,000 Dave Grohl guitar, right? If you have that kind of money, you wouldn't care if it's $12,000 or $12,500 or $13,000. You know what I mean? Wouldn't make that crazy much of an impact on your buying thing. But anything outside the premium high stuff, like high priced stuff, is impacted by it basically. So yeah, that's like a very, I thought this was a really interesting article. It really confirms everything we've been talking about on the stream for a very long time. So now the question is, okay, so the market is saturated, right? What happens now? Because we know what has happened. The question is now, what is going to happen in the new year, especially considering the fact that we have, you know, NOM 26 kicking in January in a couple of months, right? Less than 2 months, a month and a half. So what happens then, and what's going to happen now? My prediction was, and it still is, that because of the market oversaturation, there was this pressure on the builders. And obviously because of all the tariffs and everything, there's extra pressure on the builders. And economy is not doing good, so buyers have less buying power in most of the market. So the builders still have to raise their prices because of all these headwinds that they've have to deal with, you know, tariffs and everything else. So what they will probably do is that they will produce a whole lot of new models to justify this. A new version, like you know, like Fender has the Squier, and then it has the affordable Fender version of the Telecaster, for example. There's going to be a lot of those shuffles, you know, get a few features here and there, shuffle it, put it out there. There's going to be a whole lot of those, I think, in the coming year, more than usual. That's my prediction, because if you are increasing the price tag of something, you have to justify it, right? You have like the 3 to 5% inflation, so the prices may go up 3% ish every year, maybe, right? But anything other than that, anything more than that, you're gonna have to justify that price tag, because people are much more, you know, much less likely to just, you know, let go of their money and just pay you for stuff right now these days. The secondhand market is still saturated, you know. So the question is, what are you doing to justify that price increase? Yeah, I think that's a really important thing. So for example, I'll give you guys this example. Let's go to Sweetwater for a second. Right, and I'm just gonna go to Black Friday. Right. I thought this was the Dave Grohl for a second. Okay, check this out. Right? I have a feeling that there is going to be rinse and repeats of these models here. So for example, you had the Silver Sky. Let's do a rinse and repeat. Like, let's tweak it a little bit and come up with a new Silver Sky and then take it from there. You know what I mean? Or you have like their NF53, the Telecaster, PRS Telecaster, basically tweak it a little bit, change things a little bit, and then put it out there. You guys get the point? This is basically what I think is going to happen in this coming year. So much of it, a lot of it. Yeah. So yeah, for those of you who are, you know, into these kind of things, you'll have a great year ahead of you, you know. Anyways, all right. Well, I think we're getting to my favorite part of the stream. My favorite part of the stream. So I'm gonna open a can to your health, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. This is like a highlight of my week. I just come in and talk about guitars and chat with everybody. Today is a little quiet, but that's okay. So let's open a can. This is green tea for those who are wondering. Nothing alcoholic, just green tea. I was born in Japan. I have a soft spot for green tea. So, to your health, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. Let me have a sip of coffee too. Boy, oh boy, let's go. Let us go. I am caffeinated. I'm ready. Ay. All right, yo. Shall we jump to the next item on the docket? Are you guys ready? Look at me. Are you ready? Let's go. Let's talk about the next guitar. Now, I gotta tell you guys something, right? After I bought that Epiphone Firebird guitar, like, it's a similar shape, right? It's like big boy guitar, right? Ginormous body. I start to look a little deeper into ESP Ltd's Firebird model, right? So you have the Epiphone and Gibson Firebird, and then you have the LTD, sort of like inspired by Firebird. They call it the Phoenix, by the way. So this is the ESP Phoenix shape. But let's be honest, it's a Firebird, right? So looking at the Phoenix, so this one, by the way, the CS2, is a signature series for Caleb Shomo, right? So he's the guitar player for the band Beartooth, right? Based on the Phoenix shape, the CS2 is available with a figure quilted maple top, which looks awesome, by the way. I don't know about the staining, but just the figure of this quilted maple is awesome. Macus Benny fretboard and 22 extra jumbo stainless steel frets. Gold hardware, black binding, you know, brushed black pickguard. And that's the general vibe of this guitar. Now, let's have a chat about the specs first, and then let's have a listen. Actually, you know what? Let's have a listen first, and then let's talk about the specs. So, let me stop the music. We are going to listen to this first, and then let's have a look at the specs. It's a different burst, huh? So that's the guitar. Now, this is a slightly different version of that. So that's the first Phoenix that came out for this particular guitar. But the concept is the same. Exactly similar. So if not exactly the same. So I thought to give you guys a vibe of who he is as an artist here. And this is the specs on this. So 25.5-inch scale, neck through construction. You would expect that for Firebirds, right? Firebirds also have a neck through construction. However, this is the kicker, right? So this guitar the neck is a 3-piece mahogany neck. Your standard Epiphone or Gibson Firebirds are 9-piece maple walnut necks. So in terms of construction, much more solid, to be fully honest with you guys, right? 9-piece maple walnut is just hardcore solid. So you know what I mean? And that, by the way, that 9-piece neck, like that extra stable neck, that extra hardened neck, comes in handy, especially considering the fact that, well, Gibson and Epiphone headstocks, the neck headstock joint is notorious for breaking because of the angle it has. Now, this guitar doesn't have that much of an angle, as rough of an angle that your normal Epiphone or Gibson would. But for a neck through guitar, you know, you would hope to get something like that. I mean, 3-piece is good too, but it's not 9. You know, you have 9-piece, walnut, maple, carbon rods in there to reinforce. Awesome stuff. That's what you want. Maccaster Ebony fingerboard. 350 mils. What is 350 in inches? 13.7, so almost 14 inches in radius. Vintage natural finish, 43 mil nut with standard black bone nut, like that. See Gibson, you can have a guitar that is for $2,000, not $12,000, and you can have a bone nut in there. See how easy it is? LTD locking tuners, Gota tom tailpiece bridge. Seymour Duncan custom 14 gold pickup at the bridge, and the 1/4-pound Seymour Duncan on the neck. And your bridge pickup also can split in coils. And it comes with a Phoenix fit case too. So this is awesome. This is looks like an awesome guitar. Ah, there we go. Let's check out the actual thing itself.
My name's Caleb.
Is punk metal a thing? So now you guys like from the previous video, you know what kind of vibes we're going for in this guitar. So I thought this was an interesting one. For some reason, like I was always only into like Strat shaped, dinky, super Strat shaped guitars, which is my Washburn N4 is my main guitar right now. You know, so I was always into those, and it took me some getting used to for me to play that Firebird and that big chunky electric guitar. But I gotta be honest with you guys, it feels nice to play it. Like, you know, especially with tunes that you're comfortable playing. You can actually maneuver around with a big guitar like this, and it's a lot of fun. I'll show you guys what I mean. So I did do a cover of Metallica's Unforgiven 2 solo. That was like the last video I posted. And I was just like lifting the guitar and headbanging, and I had a great time, right? And I like the vibe of it was awesome. I was just like having a lifetime of my life with it. So it is a lot of fun, is what I'm trying to say. If anyone ever was into buying one of these big boy guitars, whether it's like a Phoenix or a Firebird or any other brand that is out there that do similar shapes, a little bit of getting used to, but once you get used to it, it becomes really nice and comfortable, right? And I would suspect that the neck on this guitar is a lot faster, like slimmer, than the chunky 60s neck that is on my Firebird, because the one I bought is Firebird 1, 1963. Neck was reissue, and it's a thick neck. So, there you go. There you go. So yeah, I thought that was like a really interesting piece of guitar, piece of equipment that I thought you guys might find it also interesting too. Huh. All right. I've got one more item on the docket before we call it a day, and I thought I got a little too loud on the music, didn't it? I got one more item on the docket for you guys before we call it a day. And that is an article I saw on Ultimate Guitar that had to... it was about Nuno. So it was an interview done by Nuno talking about the stress of having to deal with the performance. Oh, look who's here. Dorotio, how are you? Man, if you look a little higher up, Zuhair was asking about you earlier today. How you doing, pal? Hope you're well. Literally, Zuhair was asking, like, did Dorotio disappear completely? And I was like, no, I don't think so. He's around. He's just busy, probably. Yeah. How's things, man? So yeah, I saw this article on Ultimate Guitar about Nuno talking about the feels, the stress, the thing of having to perform songs that he doesn't usually play, that are musical, you know, that are not easy to play always in front of that many people. So I thought it was an interesting thing. It'll give you a thing into his brain a little. Dorotio says, been MIA lately. Hope everything's well, man. MIA, I hope it's a good MIA. I hope it's taking some time off and having a nice holiday, chill pill kind of MIA. Not a goddamn things are so hectic MIA. So yeah, hope that's the case. So Nuno commented on the pressure of performing at Black Sabbath's farewell show, noting that how he didn't just want to learn the songs, he wanted to own them, right? This July 5th, the world saw him performing and all that jazz. And having performed 10 songs as part of a revolving door supergroup, Nuno Bettencourt did a lot of heavy lifting. So guys, for those who don't know, everybody got 2 songs. And then they gave Nuno 2, and then they said 3, and then they made it 5, and then he just ended up doing more. So that was the thing. But he was the highlight of that show. Everybody agreed. And it'll tell you how much stress he went under and how much time he put to actually learn those songs. Dorotio says holiday stuff. Ah, that's good. I like it. We like that. All right. Where did you go? Did you go to did you travel abroad? What kind of holiday was it? So Nuno says, look, when I got the call to do the job, which I'm like, oh my God, I got to go and play 2 songs. Everyone was doing 2 songs. And then I get a call 3 or 4 days later saying, can we throw 3 more at you? And I kept going, wait, what's going on? And they go, oh, Wolfgang Van Halen just dropped out. And I'm like, well, what are the songs? Nuno went on to note how playing world-famous guitar parts by guitarists as influential as Randy Rhoads and Jake E. Lee came with severe consequences for one's reputation should one fumble them. Like, yeah, he's dropping out because he's smart. Nobody wants to play those effing Randy Rhoads or Jake E. Lee solos. nobody wants to effing do it, because if you go down in flames on that stage with Ozzy there and all of your peers watching, your career is over. So the only logical ways for him was to go all in, and he basically just kicked it. Like, he just basically just went through practicing the heck out of it and performing it well, which he did, honestly. He was the highlight of that show that night. Yeah. Doroteo says, Extreme 3 Sides to Every Story is a real underrated album. I have not heard that album. What? Three Sides to Every Story? That's the third album, huh? I haven't heard it. No, I have. I've heard some of the songs. Rest in Peace and Color Me Blind. I've heard those. Yeah. Never mind. I take back what I said. This song, by the way, this album came out the year I was born. Yeah. No, I've heard some songs on this. Never mind. I'll take back. Yeah, Rest in Peace is nice. I like it. Honestly, Doroteo says, bro. No, I heard it. You know I'm not good with names. I'm not good with names. Like, I know I've heard a lot of their work. I just didn't, that name didn't come to my mind. Look, I just know it as the number of the album. Like, for example, their album 6, the latest one that came out 2 years ago. I just know it as 6. Because I'm not good with names. You know how I am. Like, don't do that to me. Yeah, no, some of the songs I've heard, and they're great. They're really, really good. Yeah. I mean, like, to be honest with you, like, and one of the things I wonder with this is that, like, what was the process of writing this? And the stress that they had to go through writing this, because this album came out after Pornograffiti, which was their hit album, right? And so when you do something really big, everyone's, you know, waiting to look at you and see if you can repeat the same thing, or was that a fluke? So yeah, that was, like, I can only imagine what went into making this album. Yeah. I saw this interview. You know the guy, Gangnam Style, the Korean guy? Oh, Gangnam Style. Hey, sexy lady. Right? I was watching an interview of him, you know, saying pretty much exactly the same thing. And I thought that was hilarious. Because he was like, look, I made this one song and it became such a hit. At one point, it was the most watched music video on YouTube. I think like 2 billion at the time. Let me see. Gangnam Style. It's still come up first in the search. It's at 5.7 billion views. Surely it's one of the all-time high. 5.7 billion views still. It came out 13 years ago, huh? Right? And so one of the things that he was saying is like, look, the question for me is like, how can I do something better or something like the same? Because I don't think any of his songs got the same amount of... I don't think any of his songs got the same amount of views or anything go to popular. 5.7 Gangnam Style. 1.7 for Gentlemen. These numbers are insane, by the way. And then the next one is 800 million. Yeah, so none of them got as really as big. These are still hits. Like, the guy is a hit maker. His top, what, 12 videos? His top 9 videos, 10 videos are over 100 million in views. That's insane numbers. But then everything you look at, yeah, millions of views on every video, man. This is insane. What a wowzer. And he sells out arenas. But yeah, one of the interviews that he did, like I was watching, he's like, well, how can I actually repeat that success? You know, now he literally repeated the song like with 2 or 3 different artists. So Gangnam Style has like 2 or 3 different versions right now. See that? That was the making, never mind. So he did a feature with this lady. There was like 2 or 3 different versions of it. But yeah, it's the challenge, right? Like you get that one hit and the question is, can you repeat that as success? So that's the thing I was trying to bring up. Nevertheless, man, I think I'm going to leave it here. We've been on about an hour and a half. We had this awesome docket. We went through this insane Cort guitar. We talked about AI and Grammy's stance on AI. We talked about the new Dave Grohl limited edition guitar. We talked about guitar market. We talked about my spat with Joe Bonamassa on Instagram. And obviously the CS2 Firebird, the Phoenix model. So with that said, guys, we're going to leave it there. Zohair, Dorotio, good to see you guys. Twitch, thanks for hanging out. And I always say this, right? Remember, we get one life. We get to live it once, right? So enjoy it. You know, play guitar, have fun, laugh, go on holidays like Dorotio did. And we're going to leave it there. Guys, take a good care of yourself. Have a good night. I'll see you in the next video. If not, on the next stream. Take a good care of yourself. Oh, baby. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Guys, mwah! Take care of yourselves. Have a good night.